Hello, hello. Hope everybody's doing well. So we have survived week one and are moving into week two. I'm working through the journals and the brain won't turn on the journals and the introductory blog post. I did go through all the checkpoints. Getting a few questions here and there, so I'll tackle some of those things in this video today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the academic disciplines we'll be looking at this semester, and then talk more specifically about the sciences. And I'm going to break up that information over the course of a couple videos, I think some this week, some next week, because I don't want this to get too long for you. And then I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing with this first essay and what work we have due for the coming week. So, in this course, we are going to be talking about the humanities, the social sciences, and the sciences, and we're starting with the sciences. I do this for a few reasons. First of all, I like to save the humanities for the end because we're going to look at literature, and for those of you who are moving on to a 200 level English course, that will be a literature course. It's kind of nice to seamlessly move out that way. Also, for the humanities, we work with MLA, and I know a lot of you have experience with MLA, so that's kind of something nice to return to and refresh at the end of the course. So while these disciplines are distinct, they also kind of operate a little bit like most things on a continuum. So we have the sciences down here that deal with the physical world. These include subjects like biology, chemistry, earth sciences, physics, mathematics, medicine. They deal with qualitative data. Quantitative data. So we're looking at numbers, hard research. Social sciences look at humans as how they act as individuals or how they interact in groups. These are fields like anthropology, archaeology, cultural studies, political science, psychology, sociology. I will say that psychology kind of crosses between natural sciences and the social sciences. Then you have the humanities, which deal with human experience, human creation, how humans interpret what happens. So here you get into religion, philosophy, literature, the arts, and then you've got a few subjects like history, linguistics, and sometimes religion that we see as a social science, that kind of crossing over between the social sciences and the humanities. So we'll go through these one by one. We're going to go natural sciences, then social sciences, then humanities. So specifically talking about the sciences, and we'll talk a little bit about the conventions of writing. For the first essay that we do, I ask you to find essentially a highly specialized article, critique how it's delivered, and write a summary of it for an audience that isn't as familiar with the information. So in the sciences, we're typically looking at studies, we're looking at research, and what we see a lot of times ourselves as consumers of media is science writing that has been filtered down through the media. So we're not going to look at the scholarly article that was published in whatever journal about the study that was done. A lot of times we're getting a much more simplified and watered down version. Sometimes we're getting a version that doesn't even touch what the original was truly about. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we move forward. So the natural sciences, I know a lot of you are familiar with the scientific method, especially those of you who are in some science classes this semester here at the college. So these studies that we'll look at, they'll often be writing about experiments done following the scientific method, looking at a hypothesis, designing and carrying out a study to test that hypothesis and what it is they find. So they'll have concrete, quantifiable data, and there will usually be some secondary sources that are cited in their preparation and their discussion of their experiment. Typically, you're going to see things written in third-person point of view. Objectivity is incredibly important in scientific research. So sometimes you'll see first person, but most of the time you're going to see third person. The information should be presented in a very objective format. We will often see the documentation done in a special style based on the journal. We are going to use APA, and I'll talk a little bit more about APA as we move forward. So a lot of times you'll see scientific articles organized using ENG format. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the social sciences because I'm going to ask you when we get to the social sciences to use ENG. ENG stands for Introduction, Methods, Research, and Discussion. So you'll have an introductory section that might include a literature review. The methods section will explain exactly how the study was performed in a way that would allow someone to duplicate the experiment, because that duplication is important in scientific experiment. The research or results will be presented as raw data. There sometimes will be charts and graphs or tables to help with seeing that data. And then there will be the discussion where they discuss the implications of the results, whether the hypothesis was proven, whether further research is needed, what these findings could mean moving forward. So that's what you'll see. Often these articles will have an abstract at the beginning. The abstract is a nice summary that can help you know if when you're doing research, if this is the article that you want to actually move forward with. And sometimes you'll see a conclusion as well. So I feel like I'm talking really quickly. So those are important things to know about writing in the sciences. So the science writing assignment that I'm asking you to do, I ask you to find an article in a scholarly journal or perhaps a trade journal, depending, that is highly specialized. Something relating to your interest or something relating to your planned field of work is a bonus. It doesn't have to be, but I encourage it. I would like for you to find something you're interested in. This will be a lot more fun if you're interested in it. So what I want you to do is to find that and to create the APA citation for that article. So to help you with this, looking at the APA section of Little Seagull is useful. If you don't have access yet, there is a trial access that's available. I know some folks have contacted me about some problems with getting codes from the bookstore. Go through one of the links and try to log on and see what happens. You may have access already. If you don't have access, you can get it directly through Norton. But if you need to wait for your stuff to come from the bookstore, I understand. We'll work that out. You can also use Purdue's Online Writing Lab to find additional APA information. So to shift gears a little bit and talk about APA, APA stands for American Psychological Association, and APA format is very concerned with the currency when the article was published. So you may have noticed if you've looked at APA and MLA format side by side, in APA format, the year is included whenever the author's name is used in the text. The year will be there in parentheses next to it when the author is introduced. The year is featured in the in-text citation as well. This is because in the sciences, in the social sciences, the how recent that research is matters a whole lot. So you'll see that highlighted. So while MLA is more concerned with finding the precise passage, APA is more concerned with when that information came out. A few other differences. APA in the references listing uses the author's last name and then the first initial. Articles don't take quotation marks. The article titles are actually written in sentence case instead of title case. Journal and book names are still put into italics. Punctuation is a little bit different, but you can check out some of those examples there. I know some of you have experience using APA. I know some of you don't. That's okay. I'm here to help you with it. And one of the reasons I have you submit your APA citation, first of all, so I can check out your article, make sure it'll work for what we're doing. Second of all, so that I can give you some feedback on it. So give it a try. And if you're just flat out confused about something, ask me a question. Our Writing Center is also well equipped to help you. We've got virtual and in-person appointments available right now, so don't hesitate. You're welcome to drop into office hours virtually or in person or set up an appointment with me. So just let me know how I can help you as we move through this. So this week, I also have an annotation activity for us where I've asked you to annotate the assignment. I do that so that I can see what questions and concerns people have. So what you'll do is just click on that assignment, and it will pull you into a platform called Hypothesis, and you'll see our essay assignment right there on the screen, and you can highlight and annotate. Make sure you post your annotation. If you don't post your annotation to the class, I can't see it. So if you make it private to yourself, I'm not going to see it. And I'm giving you a grade for this, and I'm responding to the questions in the comments right there in Hypothesis. So please post on that and let me know. So what we have this week, that annotation of the assignment. I have some library tutorials for you. Miss Samantha O'Connor is the librarian for our course. Our librarians are amazing. If you're having trouble finding an article, or not just for this class, if you need help researching for other classes, our librarians are fantastic and super helpful. They help me find stuff all the time. I had last year an article that I like to use for a class, and it was there, and then 2 days later it wasn't there, and they were able to help me track it down. So just one example, I'm pretty good at research, but sometimes I need help too, and they do a fantastic job. So we have readings in They Say, I Say. Again, if you don't have your book yet, if you want to come by campus and borrow mine during office hours or by appointment, we could work that out. I'm glad to get books on reserve at the library. Just let me know what you need. I have a reading from Mortimer Adler called How to Mark a Book. It is old, but a lot of the advice in it still holds up. I'll talk about that a little bit next time, but definitely relates to annotation. The APA section of Little Seagull will be very helpful for you. I have that noted as something to look at. Got a little reading from an article called Carl Zimmer's Advice for Aspiring Science Writers. I found that one to be pretty fun. There are some articles for next week that we're going to look at. Don't worry about going too in depth. When you take a look at them, you'll kind of see why they're there. And that is what we have going on. Let me see. What else do we have? Oh, actually, I misspoke. Your citation is due next week. So the citation link should be in week 3. Another question that some people have had is, where are the links to turn in assignments? The links to turn in the assignments are in the week where the assignment is due. So I'll introduce an assignment. We'll talk about it. We'll work on it for a couple weeks, where you see to submit that assignment. So for example, the article citation, that's due in week 3. The essay, the science writing essay, isn't due until week 4. So when you're ready to submit that essay, you'll go to the week 4 folder to submit it. I hope that makes sense. That's the best way that I knew to organize everything. I have our course laid out in weekly folders. At the end, it may be more like a unit folder when we are when people are moving a little bit more at their own pace. So I am trying to keep up. So those of you who are submitting your citations now and want to move forward with that project, I'm trying to keep up. So if you don't see a grade after a couple days, feel free to shoot me an email and say, hey, have you looked at that yet? But as for the journals and the blog posts and all that, I am still working through those. So it's going to take me a couple more days. Well, that is everything I had on my list to discuss today. I'm glad to go more in depth with APA citation, with anything that y'all need. And if there's something that maybe you feel like you should know but you don't know, ask me a question. I'm glad to cover some stuff in supplemental videos. So I'll be rolling out some inquisitive assignments and some more stuff from They Say, I Say and Little Seagull. As you have questions or need help, please get in touch. If you're ever on campus, stop by my office. I know that we're online, but I do love meeting folks in person when we have a chance. I use the virtual office a lot, so if you want to have a meeting with me, just send me an email to schedule. Have a wonderful weekend. If I can help you as you are moving forward with your work this week, please let me know. Take care.